So this video is going to be for those parents, working professional, busy females who don't have a lot of time to train and you want to get the most bang for your buck. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the iPad. I'm going to share a little bit of a structure with you so that you can understand how to train if you are someone who is a busy professional, a mom, for example, and you can only train once a week or twice a week. Then I'm going to show you exactly how to approach it and how we approach it as well with other client. So we're going to dive straight into the pad just now and let's have a little go. So now, whatever day you can train, it doesn't matter if it's once a week, if it's twice a week, 3 times a week, establish that first. You need to understand the days that you can train. From there, you can build something in. The mistake most people make, and the reason why most people never progress, is because what they do is they want to find the perfect training split. They look at something online, they think, okay, this is the one to do. They can't perform it because life is busy, kids get in the way, routine gets in the way, you've got your own obligations, and then you end up folding because you can't follow it. We have clients just now who are training once a week, and they have done so for weeks on end, and they're making great progress. But let's say in this case, if all we can do is if we can just train on a Sunday, this is going to be our full body day. Okay, so this is where we're going to be hitting full body, and what I mean by that is we're going to be attacking our upper body, our lower body. We're going to train, the arms, the legs, chest to a degree, back as well, shoulders, all that good stuff. Okay, so you want to get all of that in. So by doing that, you're stimulating the muscle enough so that you get a full workout. Now, the thing is, most people are not doing this one thing, and that is logging what they do. So you must log what you do. So each Sunday you train, you want to go back into that workout and you want to track what you did. So if, for example, let's say you did squats. Okay, now this is just an example. A rowing movement, a pressing movement. We did some sort of, let's say, a curl of some sort, a push down. Some of this doesn't mean anything to you. Don't worry too much. I'm just kind of running through this. Okay, let's just say that's a very basic workout. So a squat, a row, let's add a wee lunge in there as well. Okay. And let's say, for example, you did 3 sets for all of them, okay? And let's say you're training from home, right? You're training from home and you only had access to one kettlebell or a couple of dumbbells. You then want to make sure that, let's say, for example, you had a 10 kg dumbbell only, okay? Other exercises are going to be quite hard. So reason being is when you've got heavier weights, if that's heavy for you, your lower body is going to, it's got more muscles. Okay, so the back and the legs, generally you tend to be able to lift more because you've got more muscles are taking over. If it's a pressing movement, if it's an arm exercise, you're not going to be able to. Okay, so you might need to buy lighter weights if you only have a heavier weight. But if you've got a somewhat of a variety, or if you're training from the gym, you then want to make sure that you track what you do. So let's say, for example, you had a variety of weights at home, okay, or you train in the gym. So for squats, if 1 week you did 10 kg, if for rows you did, let's say, 8 kilograms per arm, if you're doing a single one. If for pressing, let's say you did 6. If for the curl, you did, let's say, 5. And let's say for the push down, you were doing on a cable. So let's just say you were doing 15, okay? And then for a lunge, you were doing 8 kg. And this is just an example, okay? You did that all on week 1, okay? What you then want to do, and this is if you can remember this, you are going to make great progress. You have to make sure you reflect on what you did previously. Then from there, you then build from that. If you did, let's say, 10 kg times, let's say 10 repetitions, and 8 kg times 8. Okay, so I'm just going to put random numbers in here for the repetitions. All right. So let's say 8. You want to make sure the next time you go into that same workout, you build on that. Okay. You have 2 options. You've got a couple more, but let's keep it simple. You could increase the weight, which is not easy to do week on week, or you could do more repetitions. So when you go into the next Sunday workout, you then want to make sure you try and do maybe, let's say, 12 repetitions. Okay. For the rowing movements, let's say if we can possibly do 10, okay? And again, for the pressing, let's say if we can do 10, okay? We're going to go through it all. So the idea is to progressively overload. If you do that, no matter how many times you train, especially if you're in like your first year of exercising and lifting, you're going to make great progress. Progressive overload is what we're trying to achieve here. Eventually, you can lift heavier weights, of course, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure to some degree you're pushing what you did previously. Okay, that's a full body split example. Again, you could do that twice. So if you could train 2 times in the week, I wouldn't do Saturday and Sunday because they're too close together. And let's say you could train on a Thursday in this example, and you could do again full body day. Okay, you would do you would hit the same muscles, similar exercise, but maybe switch it up just to add a little bit of variety. You could make that day the days that you do your big heavy lifts. So you could just do that one where you do your squatting, your lunging, deadlifting if you're comfortable doing that sort of stuff. And then on your Sunday is when you can do you can still do some squats, maybe not go so heavy, and you can do some of the more I guess what we call isolation movements. Okay, so that's an example there. If you had more days in the week, that's when you can do like that's what we call a push and pulling, etc., where you can have your chest, shoulders, and your triceps. You can do your back exercises, that sort of thing as well. Hit your back muscles, and then do a leg day. Any more than 5 days, I wouldn't really push. I would say the sweet spot for most clients is anywhere between 2 to 4, personally speaking. But we do get clients who can train, once a week, and it works just fine. Okay. If you can train once a week or twice a week, trust me, you can still absolutely do it. But you must make sure you're logging what you're doing, because if you're not logging, you are going to be missing out. Because what you're doing is you're going into the gym each time and you're spinning your wheels, and that's what we don't want to do. At the end of the day, you go into the gym to progress. Okay. And if you do this, every 4 to 5 or maybe 6 weeks, you can then change up your routine, change up your exercises, and add a bit of variety. Okay. But if you go into the gym just to exercise and keep fit, that's cool. But if you want to progress and all you have is 45 minutes once a week, you can absolutely make progress. But you must make sure those muscles that you're targeting with the exercises have progressed. They've got stimulus, and each week you're progressing and you're pushing yourself. If you do that, I promise you'll be just fine. Yes, eventually you want to get to a stage where you can train a little bit more frequently, so maybe 2 or 3 times or even 4. That's a nice sweet spot for more experienced individuals, but we'll leave it at that. You can make great progress by just 1 or 2 training sessions a week, and don't let that hold you back. Hopefully this helped. Any questions, please pop them below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.